Chapter 2, Weaponizing Lag to Dominate. Previously, after Elias secured his job by exploiting a glitch against Captain Jax, the arrogant rival vowed to expose him as a fraud during tomorrow's public stream. Now facing sabotage from every draft pick and an impending league hotfix, Elias must survive the coming broadcast before his unique advantage is patched away. Now, Chapter 2 begins. The main stage of the Team Apex facility hummed with a tension that felt less like athletic anticipation and more like the quiet before an execution. Rows of high-end gaming rigs sat dark, their screens reflecting the harsh overhead lights, but all eyes were fixed on the central podium where Jack stood. He wasn't wearing his team jersey. Instead, he sported a custom-branded hoodie, the logo of his personal sponsor gleaming under the studio lights. Behind him, the massive wall screen displayed the live stream interface, the viewer count already climbing into the hundreds of thousands, fueled by rumors of a scandal. "Welcome back, everyone," Jack said, his voice smooth, practiced, and dripping with false benevolence. He leaned against the desk, crossing his arms. "We've had some interesting developments within the roster lately. Some are calling it innovation. Others, myself included, call it what it is. A glitch abuse so egregious it insults the integrity of the game itself." The chat on the side monitor scrolled so fast it was a blur of neon text. "Fraud, ban HIM, JAX is right, Apex should fire the cheater." Elias stood in the shadows of the wings, his hands shoved deep into his pockets. He watched as Coach Vance emerged from the backstage area, flanked by Claire. The coach's face was a mask of calculated indifference, while Claire looked ready to intervene, her steps quick and urgent. "Coach, you can't let him do this," Claire hissed, grabbing Vance's sleeve as they approached the stage entrance. "This isn't team bonding, it's a public lynching. The contract clause he's citing is for collaborative content, not humiliation trials." Vance didn't break stride. He glanced at the soaring viewer metrics on a tablet held by a production assistant. "Let him run, Claire. If Elias is as good as he claims, he'll handle the pressure. If he's just a bug-exploiting script kiddie, then we save the organization from a PR nightmare by letting Jax expose him now. Besides, Jax has the contractual right to initiate skill verification streams if he suspects roster integrity issues. Technically, he's following protocol." "But the terms are set," Vance cut in, his voice low and final. "Elias goes in blind. Jax controls the variables. If Elias loses, we cut him tomorrow morning. Clean break, no severance headache." They reached the edge of the stage just as Jax gestured toward the shadows. And here he is, the man of the hour. "Come on out, Elias, don't be shy. The whole world wants to see if you can play without your little magic trick." Elias walked out. The spotlight hit him, blinding and hot. He could feel the weight of the camera lenses, the digital gaze of 500,000 people waiting for him to stumble. He took his seat at the designated player station, the chair feeling cold and unwelcoming. "I'm listening, Jax," Elias said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline spiking in his chest. "What's the setup?" Jax grinned, a shark smelling blood in the water. "Simple, a 1v3. You take your main hero, the one you accidentally broke the game with. I'll take my ace character, and I'll bring in 2 of our academy subs to round out the squad. But since you're apparently so dependent on server desync to land your shots, we need to level the playing field." Jax tapped a key on his own keyboard, and a dialog box popped up on Elias' screen. "Latency injector, active. I'm artificially adding 50 milliseconds of input lag to your connection," Jax announced to the cameras. "For a pro, that's an eternity. Your clicks will register half a second after you think them. Your dodges will be late. Your aim will drift. Consider it a handicap to compensate for your unfair advantage. Let's see if you have any real mechanics under all that code." Claire stepped forward, her face pale. "Jax, that tool isn't approved for competitive use. It destabilizes the hitbox registration. This is sabotage." "It's education, Claire," Jax shot back, not looking away from Elias. "Accept the terms or admit you can't play without the exploit." Elias looked at the prompt. 50 milliseconds. In a game where reactions were measured in frames, this was crippling. It meant everything he saw on his screen was already in the past. Standard aiming would be impossible. By the time his crosshair moved to where the enemy was, they would have already moved away. He clicked *accept. Brave, Jax muttered, though his tone suggested he found it foolish. Load the mirror match map. Academy subs, get in position. Let's teach the rookie how the game is actually played. The loading screen faded, replaced by the sterile, geometric landscape of the virtual arena. The map was a symmetrical grid of cover points and open lanes, designed for tactical shootouts. Elias spawned in the center, alone. Opposite him, Jax and the two Academy players fanned out, their movements crisp and synchronized even before the match officially began. "Remember, chat," Jax narrated, his voice booming through the arena audio channel. "Watch his crosshair. Watch how it lags behind. Watch him miss." The match started. Immediately, the sensation was disorienting. Elias moved his mouse, but on screen, his character responded with a sluggish, swimming delay. When he tried to strafe left, his character slid a fraction of a second later, throwing off his rhythm. Jax capitalized instantly, launching a volley of energy projectiles. Elias didn't try to dodge. He knew that with the injected lag, any reactive movement would put him directly in the line of fire. Instead, he stood still, watching the trajectory of the incoming attacks. He closed his eyes for a split second, ignoring the visual feedback on his monitor and focusing on the server tick rate he could feel in the subtle stutter of the environment. The lag isn't just delaying me, Elias thought, his mind racing through the mechanics. It's decoupling my client-side prediction from the server authority, but the server tick is constant. The two Academy subs rushed him, flanking from the left and right. They moved with predictable, textbook aggression, expecting Elias to panic and spray wildly. Elias began to move, but not how anyone expected. He walked directly into the path of the left sub's melee attack. On his screen, the hit connected, chipping away a sliver of his health bar. But because of the 50-millisecond delay, the server registered his position slightly ahead of where his client showed him standing. He spun, not aiming at the sub, but aiming at the empty space where the sub asterisk would asterisk be in 3 frames. He fired. The shot missed visually on his screen, passing harmlessly through the air. But on the server, the delayed packet arrived exactly as the sub stepped into that coordinate. The hit registered. The sub stumbled, confused by the invisible impact. "What was that?" Jax laughed over the comms. "You missed entirely, look at that aim." Elias ignored him. He was building a model in his head. The latency injector created a consistent offset. If he treated his on-screen character as a ghost, a projection of where he was asterisk, not where he is asterisk, he could manipulate the collision boxes. He wasn't playing the game on his screen, he was playing the game on the server, using the lag as a veil. He baited the second sub. He feigned a retreat, moving slowly, deliberately exposing his back. The sub took the bait, lunging for a critical strike. At the last possible microsecond, Elias stopped. Due to the lag, his character on the screen kept sliding forward for a few more frames, creating a ghost image that overlapped with the sub's model. The sub's attack clipped through Elias' graphical model, hitting nothing but air, while Elias' own hitbox, shifted by the delay, phased cleanly through the sub's attack animation. It was a phenomenon known as ghosting, usually a bug, but here, weaponized. Elias turned and delivered a single, precise basic attack. The sub's health bar dropped critically. The chat slowed its frantic scrolling. Wait, did he just tank that? Why didn't the sub hit him? Look at the accuracy overlay. On the side of the stream, a real-time graphic displayed the player's stats. Jax's APM, actions per minute, was skyrocketing, a jagged red line of frantic activity. Elias' line was flat, efficient, a calm blue wave. Yet the damage output per second was nearly identical. Jax's smile began to falter. "Lucky glitch," he snapped, ordering the subs to converge. "Don't give him space, burn him down." The three opponents pressed the attack. Jax unleashed his ultimate ability, a devastating cone of explosive energy that covered the entire lane. It was unblockable, unavoidable, and designed to force a dodge. "Dodge it, Ilias," Jax taunted. "Oh wait, you can't, you're too slow." The explosion washed over Ilias' character. In any normal scenario, this was instant death. But Ilias didn't press the dodge key. He didn't move backward. Instead, he stepped asterisk forward, directly into the center of the blast radius, timing his movement to coincide with the server's damage calculation window. Because of the 50-millisecond lag, his client showed him entering the fire late. But the server, processing the input delay, registered his entry frame as occurring after the initial damage tick had resolved, but before the lingering burn effect applied. For one singular, impossible frame, his hitbox existed in a null state between the damage pulses. He clipped through the ultimate. When the smoke cleared, Ilias stood behind Jax, his health bar barely touched, while Jax's cooldowns were completely empty. The two Academy subs lay defeated, eliminated by Ilias' cold, mathematical trapping. "Now," Ilias said, his voice cutting through the silence of the arena, "it's just us." Jax stared at his screen, his fingers freezing over the keyboard. That's impossible. The lag should have made you eat every tick." "You treated the lag as a hindrance," Ilias said, his character walking calmly toward Jax. "I treated it as a variable. You're playing based on what you see. I'm playing based on when the server says it happens." Ilias didn't use a flashy combo. He didn't charge up a special move. He simply initiated the basic attack cycle. Attack, reset. Attack, reset. Each hit landed with rhythmic precision, bypassing Jax's desperate attempts to parry. Jax's character danced erratically, trying to confuse the aim, but Ilias wasn't aiming at the model. He was aiming at the timeline. With a final, anticlimactic tap of the mouse button, Jax's health bar vanished. Victory flashed across the screen in bold, golden letters. The studio went silent. The only sound was the hum of the cooling fans. Then the chat exploded. The scroll became a waterfall of shock. How? HE clipped the ULT, JAXGOT outplayed in his own trap, lag god. Ilias removed his headset and placed it gently on the desk. He swiveled his chair to face the cameras, his expression unreadable. "The latency injector reduced the variance in packet arrival," Ilias explained, his tone clinical, addressing the audience rather than the stunned players around him. "By standardizing the delay, it actually made the server ticks more predictable. Jax relied on visual confirmation. I relied on server authority. There was no cheat, just adaptation." Coach Vance stepped into the light, his face instantly rearranging into a beam of proud professionalism. He clapped a hand on Ilias' shoulder, squeezing hard enough to bruise. "Incredible! Did you see that resilience? That is the kind of mental fortitude Team Apex demands. Ilias didn't just win, he evolved under pressure." Vance turned to the cameras, gesturing broadly. "This is why we keep our roster deep. This is why we invest in strategic consultants who can think outside the box. A tremendous display for our sponsors." On the monitor behind them, the sponsorship dashboard lit up. Green arrows shot upward as viewer engagement spiked. The brand value of Team Apex had just doubled in 10 minutes. Jax remained seated, his face a mask of suppressed rage. He forced a smile for the cameras, but his eyes burned with a venomous hatred that no amount of PR spin could hide. He had tried to bury Ilias, and instead, he had handed him a spotlight. Claire caught Ilias' eye from the sidelines. She offered a small, subtle nod, her shoulders relaxing for the first time all day. She mouthed 2 words, "Well done." But as the production crew rushed the stage to capture the post-match interviews, Coach Vance leaned in close to Ilias, his grip on Ilias' shoulder tightening, his voice dropping to a whisper that the microphones couldn't catch. "Don't get comfortable, kid. You won the stream. You saved your skin for today. But tomorrow is the official scrimmage against the league leaders. Vance's smile didn't reach his eyes. Jax controls the draft phase tomorrow. He decides who plays and what heroes they pick. If he thinks you're a threat, he won't bench you. He'll put you on a suicide pick. He'll force you into a role that guarantees failure in a team setting where your little solo tricks won't save you. You proved you can beat the lag. Let's see if you can survive the roster politics. Vance patted Elia's cheek, a gesture that felt more like a slap, before turning to address the cheering crowd. Elias sat alone in the chair, the victory music swelling around him, the taste of triumph already turning to ash as he realized the game had only just begun. In the next chapter, as Elias celebrates his victory, he fails to notice that the clock is already ticking down on the very exploit that made him a star.